All right, this is lesson 1.3, comparing numbers. Now, before we get started, we need to talk about three symbols that we're going to see as we start comparing numbers. The first symbol we're going to see looks like kind of a backwards, more like an upside or a crooked seven, and I like to think of these as like alligators. Sometimes I even draw little teeth on them. And the thing to remember is that alligators they are very hungry. We haven't fed our alligators in a long time, so they're going to eat the bigger number. So when we have our symbol pointed to the left, kind of like a crooked 7, we want to remember that that means greater than. Now, if my alligator is hungry but is eating the number to the right, it's open to the right like a backward 7, we kind of call that we call that less than. And then the last symbol we're going to talk about is an equal sign. And when we're comparing numbers, we say equal to. So let's practice down below. I have my handy dandy place value chart that I've drawn on here. We went over that before. We have our ones place, our tens place, our hundreds place, our thousands place, and these are abbreviated, our 10,000s place, our 100,000s place, and our millions place. It's important to know that as we're putting our numerals into our place value chart that we always start with our smallest value in the ones place. So if I have the number 784, my 4 has to start in the ones place. It has to start in the ones place because when I go to say it, I'm going to say 784. If I don't start it in the ones place, I'm going to get the wrong value. I'm going to get the wrong number. Say I started it over here. This would be 7,084,000. Uh-oh, I can't have blanks open on the right like that. That's not correct. So I'd know I'd made a mistake. You always have to start in your smallest value. So let's plug that number in. 784. Let's compare that number to this numeral, 652. Now 2 is my smallest value, so I'm going to plug it into the ones place. 5 is in my tens, so I'm going to put my 5 in the tens place, and 6 is in the hundreds. Now when I use my handy dandy place value chart, I can see right away when I'm comparing, 7 is much greater than 6. It is larger, it is bigger. So 7 is going to be the greater value. And if I look back up here, if it's greater, then usually we're going to have the alligator eat it. Let's see. My alligator is going to eat my 7. That is my greatest value. 700 is worth more than 600, excuse me. Now, when I go to say this, I'm going to use my code up here to help me say it correctly. 784 is greater than 652. Let's try another digit. Let's say I have the digit 345 and the other digit is 372. Well, I'm going to use my handy dandy place value chart and line them up. So I put my 5 in the ones, my 4 in the tens, and my 3 in the hundreds. Then I just repeat with my other numeral. 2 in the ones, 7 in the tens, 3 in the hundreds. This one is going to be a little bit trickier because when I go to compare my biggest values, oh no, I notice that they're both the same amount. The value is the same, so I can't compare those. I have to keep moving. When I'm comparing, I'm going to move next door. So now I'm going to compare my tens place. As I look in my tens, I can see, oh, these aren't the same. My 7 is a greater value than my 4. I would rather have 7 pieces of candy than 4 pieces of candy. So I know that my alligator is going to eat the numeral that has the 7 in it. And sometimes you can write the little teeth on there. It is a hungry alligator. Now I'm going to use my chart up here to remind myself. Okay, it's open backwards, like a backwards 7, so I know it's going to be less than. 345 is less than 372. That is comparing numbers using a place value chart.